Hello and welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm David.
And we are into week 2 of the 2025 summer anime season. In this week's episode of The Summer Hikaru Died, the town is in a bit of a tizzy relating to the old woman whose name is Matsura's death. The kids in high school are not really fazed by it too much, but one of Hikaru and Yoshiki's classmates talks about how due to construction of a tunnel he would normally take to get home from school every day, he's had to traipse through a forest that makes him feel uneasy. So he ends up convincing the 2 boys and then 2 girls from their class to join him after school that day to walk through the forest so he can try to overcome his fear. They make it through without any incident, but on the return trip, things take a little bit of a different twist. There is a yokai off in the distance in the woods that catches Yoshiki's attention. And before it can fully latch onto him, Hikaru consumes it and warns Yoshiki that he shouldn't look at any of the yokai because that's essentially the invitation for them to join you due to their incredible loneliness. While all of this is going on, Tanaka, the gentleman who works for what we are assuming is a firm dealing with exorcism, arrives in town and begins doing an investigation about the Matsura death incident. He and a couple of the village elders break into the crime scene that is the house to do a little bit of investigating. They begin talking about this ritual that there had been whispers of at the end of the first episode. It seems like it could be a ancient sacrificial practice still existing within modern society to keep the scary thing in the mountain at bay. At the insistence to leave the murder scene behind and to go someplace a little bit more mentally calming, they head to the shrine that is run by one of the gentlemen from town that is there. And they begin talking about Hikaru's disappearance over the winter in the mountain. After some investigation on the mountain, Tanaka produces a fanny pack that they identify as being owned by Hikaru's father. And within it is a talisman of sorts that Tanaka guesses is a human head that's used as a powerful ward against ill-intentioned beings. He also warns them that whatever was on the mountain doesn't appear to be there anymore. He suspects that it has found a way to hide itself among the city, among the people in the village itself. Following the interesting encounter in the woods with the yokai, we come across Hikaru and Yoshiki in a compromising situation in the late afternoon sun of the athletic storage building. And Hikaru even comments on it being similar to something you would find in a romance series, where the 2 characters get a little bit more intimate with each other. But the intimacy in this case is Hikaru showing Yoshiki kind of how he consumed the yokai by opening up the void within Hikaru's body into the being of what exists as Hikaru. In an interesting scene that essentially is Hikaru's body unzippering. Later that day, we have Yoshiki at the grocery store being inundated with busybodies and their desire to stick their nose in everybody's business. As he is leaving, after a uncomfortable encounter with a woman at the checkout, another woman approaches him and warns him to not get too close to whatever spirit he's enacting with, for fear of him losing his humanity. At the same time, she apologizes for being so forthright, and she tries to persuade him that she's not crazy, but does have an unexplained ability to detect the unnatural. And she offers him her contact information to be kind of a guide or a counselor in whatever's troubling him. That's pretty much the gist of this week's episode. We really just kind of built upon some of the mysteries that were starting to be leaked in the first episode, but we really didn't get too much. Hikaru has yet again further demonstrated his unnatural existence to Yoshiki in a bid to keep Yoshiki close to him for whatever desire. After he had consumed the yokai, he pretty much Stockholmed Yoshiki into only having eyes for him. Yeah, this is not a healthy relationship by any stretch of the definition.
I'm not gonna lie, that yokai creeped me out.
Yeah, I guess you're not really familiar with yokai, are you?
Just the way it was animated was just like, ooh, uncanny valley.
Yeah. Well, that might lend to the idea that the director of the anime wants to make the series more unsettling than the source material was.
It was very unsettling. It got me. It got me good. I felt adrenaline rush. Heart was racing a little bit, especially when it like popped down behind him. I was just like, Jesus Christ.
What was more unnerving, Hikaru unzipping his torso or the yokai?
Yokai. We've had weird, you can feel inside me things before in anime. Also how Hikaru was kind of getting into it when his hand was inside of him. I was like,
yeah.
You dirty ghost.
Yeah, the whatever it is that is Hikaru is a bit of a
perv.
Seems to be playful, we'll say. Because it seemed like he kind of overacted the sensation of Yoshiki digging inside of his form.
But still, that yokai was creepy. It was just the way it was animated. It was that like kind of CGI, kind of not style of animation. And I was just like, ooh. And they had the perfect like jump scariness to it, which I think this series is going to definitely play into the like, hey, guess what? Jump scare. I'm very much enjoying this show so far. It's element of creepy that makes you want to watch more.
It is a slow burn.
Yeah, but with the jump scares involved.
It does a really good job of building the atmosphere. Just the unsettling nature of all the events that are happening around them.
Also, Yoshiki's having a crash out right now. Just major crash out while that convenience store lady was talking to him. Whatever is possessing Hikaru is definitely a malevolent thing.
It'll be fun to see what this ceremony is that keeps getting brought up. That it's all hush-hush by these elders.
I kind of wonder if Hikaru was a sacrifice.
So there was something that was mentioned about his family, about how they're supposed to be immune to the requests of the thing on the mountain.
Yeah.
It came from the elders to an extent, but then there was also the flashback of Hikaru talking with his father when he was younger. Obviously, those are things that will be answered as we progress through the story.
Hypothesis. Hikaru was a sacrifice meant to appease this thing.
Yeah, probably.
And that's the ritual, is that a family...
Unintentional, though. An important thing to find out will be what was Hikaru doing on the mountain. Because there seemed to be some amount of desperation that brought him out there.
Maybe.
I'm sure we'll find out.
I mean, he did tell Yoshiki that he was going to the mountain that weekend, and that it was a secret. So Sakamoto Days Season 2 opens up with a little bit of a recap of what happened in the previous season. For those of you that are unfamiliar, just go listen to what we talked about when we last covered Sakamoto Days. Jumping right into the action of Season 2, we open following the 4 serial killers that we were introduced with at the end of last season. We have Apart, Dump, Saw, and Minimalist. These 4 assassins each have their own kind of...
Quirks?
Or not assassins, death row inmates. Each have their own quirks in a way. So the first one we see is Dump, where she gets sexually attracted to people that are in terror. And then as soon as they're dead, she loses the interest. She can produce spikes from her body. Then there is the eclectic weirdo Apart, who likes to take people apart, but if something is wrong with the environment, he has an almost obsessive compulsive need to fix them. The example we were given, the person that he had killed didn't have book 7 of a manga series. So he went all the way to a manga store, bought the book, replaced it, and was like, okay, cool, I feel better now. And then we have Minimalist, which looks like he crushes people down into little meatballs. And then we get introduced to the last of the 4 death row inmates, Saw, who's literally just a psychopath. He wields an axe on a rope and really enjoys what he does. Like a lot. After being introduced to those 4, we get brought back to the Sakamoto clan, where we see Taro Sakamoto and Heisuke practicing his ability to catch bullets, which he catches all but one of them.
The fact that they're out in public just firing a rifle.
Yep, I loved it. I laughed. It was hilarious. So yeah, Taro's training. Also, we get reintroduced to some of the characters that we saw last season with the Order. We have the Perpetual Bride, Osaragi, and then we have Shishiba. Then we have Nagumo, one other guy that I don't remember his name, and then some old samurai that apparently when he wakes up can cut off the roof of vehicles, which he got awoken by a fly and almost decapitated everybody in the car. Nagumo shows up mimicking Shin to basically let Sakamoto know that these killers have ranked him as a B class or B plus class killer, much to his chagrin, especially to find out that Nagumo is rated as S plus class. And then the last part of the episode, we get Shin and Lu going to what looks to be like a super duper general store with like pets, and
I got lulled into it being a pet store after a while, and then it was questioning why there were canisters of propane.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's right, it's just a store.
Yeah, it was like the most general of general stores, which that kitten was adorable that Lu was obsessing over. And then the dog too that Shin
was obsessing over.
Yeah. Both of those animals were animated adorably. I love it when they animate animals in anime just being adorable. And then, yeah, we get the epic fight scene between Saw, Shin, and Lu, which I thought was pretty entertaining. It was high stakes, a lot of fun. The axe was very much a threat throughout that whole thing. Shin and Lu getting their ass beat. Shin can't read his mind because all he's thinking about is killing. And then we get the ultimate Goku level up for Shin, where he can now see the future, including with spiky standing up hair and all.
Yep.
I thought it was awesome.
Shin's limiters were removed.
I knew when Sakamoto said this, like, he hasn't met his true potential yet.
Yeah, I'm like,
I was like, he's gonna meet his true potential.
Dude, I groaned so loud when that happened. I'm like, oh, why? All right.
And then Shin
shonen the hell out of the shonen.
And then Shin beat the shit out of Saw, and that's kind of where the episode ended.
It handled reintroducing you to all of the relevant characters in a pretty good way. But then the over-the-top ridiculousness of the four murderers was too much for me. I was like, this is really fucking stupid. But
can you see why I like it at least?
Sakamoto Days shouldn't be taken seriously.
Can you see why I like this show?
You're a 13-year-old at heart?
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's
Respect.
it's fun. I like the fun. I like the action. I like the over-the-top.
It's so ridiculous. It's so over the top.
It's just a fun way to like watch people beat the shit out of each other for 20 minutes. You get to giggle at some of the slapstick comedy that happens, the one-liners. You're just like, yeah, this is stupid. I like it.
That is the thing that doesn't make it entirely unbearable, is the fact that it really does not take itself that seriously.
No, it's not serious at all.
Well, no, it is serious at moments, but then it like grins and is like, haha.
Right. It's not like Dragon Ball where it takes itself seriously.
Yeah, there's comedy in Dragon Ball, but that is separated from the violence.
Yeah, because the violence parts are taking themselves seriously.
Yes.
But the violence parts, most of the time in Sakamoto Days, are not taking themselves seriously.
Correct.
Even with the rope axe, nothing about that was serious.
No.
And I loved it. And I think it's awesome. And I'm glad that season 2
it's
finally...
back.
Yes. Yes. I loved season 1.
Yep.
Season 2 makes me just as happy.
Letter grade for Sakamoto Days season 2 so far, because we did not talk about it last week for obvious reasons.
I'm going to give it a B+.
Okay.
Again, not trying to let my previous enjoyment of the last season influence.
Sure.
I do still really like the characters. There's obviously a whole lot of story that I can still watch, so I don't want to be like, it's an A+ right away. So
I'm going to give it a C+. Part of that due to my own just dislike of some of what it does. Actually, a lot of it due to my dislike of some of what it does. I groan
but you didn't give it a failing grade.
I groan over a lot of the trope characterizations, like the one woman from the Order who swings around the...
Circular saw?
Yeah, circular saw. Yeah, there's just something about her design that I really dislike.
I mean, she's very...
It's the goth loli, cool, dere...
It's a trope.
All of Sakamoto is a trope.
And I'm here for most of it.
It relishes in the tropeness.
I'm here for most of it.
But I can't be disingenuous and give it a failing grade because I don't enjoy it. It doesn't do a bad job of what it's trying to do.
Right.
Just because I'm not the audience doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right.
So I try to keep that into consideration too. But like I said, I appreciated the just speed run reintroducing you to all the characters and giving you an inkling of why they matter. I think that was a really good job. But the back half of it, especially with the whole conversation with the Order in the van or in their tour bus, I groaned a lot. I did chuckle when the dude in the passenger seat warned Goth Loli and everybody fucking ducked right as he just circular cut the entire top of the bus off.
I also like Nagamo's where he's just like, when the fucking bus top got cut off, he's just like, oh my God.
I like Nagamo's character. I think I said that in the first season too. He is amusingly stupid.
Yes.
The way he's always trying to fuck with Sakamoto and just his attitude is really amusing.
Heisuke is also lovingly stupid.
Heisuke is truly just stupid.
Right.
And
but you still love him.
Oh, he's very lovable. But Nagamo is like
competent.
Agent of chaos.
Yes, he's competent but stupid. I do love too seeing the development of Shin and Lu's friendship getting closer.
You mean their siblinghood?
Yes. I do love to see that they're much closer.
They're very much brother and sister at this point.
After like last season of like them not really liking each other a lot.
Well, no. They buried the hatchet right before the end of that last arc.
Right, but seeing that like the hatchet actually stayed buried.
Yeah.
When a lot of times animes will just be like, yeah, they may have buried the hatchet for that one episode, but like
we're gonna refresh this for more plot convenience.
Yeah, but no, like to see that the hatchet stayed buried.
Yeah, I
was happy.
No, their relationship might be the strongest point of the series, I think, because it's such a nice arc within the story itself.
Yeah.
And they're fun characters. Like I said it before, I could care less if we see Sakamoto. He just does his thing and it's irrelevant.
I think that's
what makes.
I think that's kind of the point.
Although I did love that he was falling asleep when they went to the information broker and were watching the movie, and the whole banter about how Lou doesn't want to watch horror movies.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, how she doesn't like scary movies.
Yeah, she's like, can I close my eyes at the scary part? This isn't scary. This is just gross.
Yeah. This isn't scary. This is just a gore fest. It's a good show if this is the kind of stuff that you like.
It doesn't do what it's trying to do poorly.
And I'm glad that you can admit that even though you don't like it, it's still good at what it's trying to do.
It has value.
Yeah.
I will definitely give it that. It has value.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure I had said a similar thing when I did not like the first season of Shoshimin. As I was like, I understand.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I understand that people probably like this show and appreciate it. It's just I'm not the target audience. But then I rewatched it and became the target audience. But like, I like when we can have discourse like this where it's like,
well, yeah, of course.
Like,
if we agreed on everything, this would be really fucking boring.
Right. But also, I like it too when it's like we disagree, but the other can be like I could see why you like it, but it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah. This week in City, we kick off with Tatewaku, the oldest child of the Makabe family, going to soccer, which he struggled all the first episode getting to, only to find that the soccer team is being dressed down by the captain because they failed to protect their best player, arguably only good player, a boy by the name of Sasageo, from being injured. And so they determined it'll be a lot quicker for them to just continue protecting him from mishaps instead of actually improving themselves as the best course of action for the team. Only to learn that Sasageo is truly accident prone and they should probably just get better at the sport instead of relying on the golden player. We then cut to Nagamo and Nikura. Nagamo sneaks out of the apartment in the early morning, leaving Nikura an IOU for the dinner that she had brought her previously from her work.
Well, more like a you owe me.
Yeah, sorry. You owe me 1,000 yen for the meal that I gave you that I got for free for my first day at the job. In the process of her ninjaing her way out of the apartment complex, she ends up almost running into the destitute manga author. All of this is captured brilliantly by the other girl, Izumi. And Izumi then notices that Nagamo has dropped a ticket for horse racing and then goes on her merry way to try to return it to her. That fails, but she does end up introducing herself to Nikura. Nikura realizes that Izumi is the photog who had won the contest that inspired her to try to win the contest, and begs her to teach her how to be a better photographer. Nagumo shows up, or is discovered by Nikura, who then questions her about the whole, how the hell are you going to charge me for a free meal you brought from your work? And then Izumi introduces herself to Nagumo, who we find out is her object of interest when it comes to photography, which irritates Nagumo, and she starts to try to fight back. And everything fails until Izumi tries to hold hostage the fact that she found her racing ticket, but that collapses when Nagumo tells her it's an old one that was losing anyways. So the three girls now know each other, and we have this idea of Izumi being a bit of a stalker for Nagumo. We learn from the Weekly City magazine how the horoscopes are generated. They are done randomly with a wheel of ideas and a dart. The newest addition to the editorial team, a young gentleman named Todoroki, is very concerned by why this happens, and then is told to go collect the final issue of the manga, Mr. Bummer, from the manga artist that we met in the previous episode and that Nagumo just backflipped over in this episode. He tries to plead with what I assume is the editor-in-chief, or perhaps even the guy who just runs the magazine in general, who's shady as hell, not to remove this manga author's work from the magazine, because he's really enjoyed, since coming to work for them, to work with this artist who he values highly. But the editor-in-chief is like, no, the next series we're going to work with this guy. And immediately Todoroki goes, oh yeah, no, I'm cool with that. We're good. We then get a long flashback of how Nikura met Nagumo. For a brief period of time, they were in high school together, but Nagumo was a year older than her. Nagumo had a penchant in high school for besting all of the top members of the athletic clubs. Like, repeatedly. Best at volleyball, best at, whatever. Pick a sport, Nagumo just defeats them with a grin and a smile and impish weirdness. And Nikura was inspired by this display of superiority that she too has decided for a long time that Nagumo should be the focus of her photography. In fact, that's what sparked her interest in photography in the first place. So now we have two characters as part of the Mont Blanc Trio, which I'm pretty sure the reason why they're referred to as the Mont Blanc Trio is because the name of their school is Mont Blanc University. So two of them are obsessive photographers whose object of desire is Nagumo. Then we get another adventure of the Going Home Club with Echan and the Makabe daughter, where it devolves into them playing God, and then figuring out how to grant people's wishes while they hang out hiding in bushes at a temple. And we end that with Echan coming home and her mother asking her if she's told Matsuri that they're going to be moving soon. So, pending drama between this very wholesome but ridiculously childish friendship. I love the Going Home Club thing and their mentality because of how ridiculous childlike it is.
Yep.
Which is good because they're middle school students, but just the way it's presented and them moving through this carefree existence of exploration and imagination while relishing the fact that they are still children. I love that. We pretty much wrap up the episode with Todoroki delivering the killing blow to the manga artist, whose name is Kamaboko Oni. Kamaboko is fish cake.
Fish cake demon.
So he gets the final episode, or the final installment of Mr. Bummer, and delivers it back to the editor-in-chief. And the editor-in-chief tells him that he needs to go back to the artist and get hit next week's episode because the person they were trying to replace him with isn't available. So Todoroki comes back as the manga artist, Kamaboko Oni, is in the pits of despair because his career has now stumbled, and tells him it was all a joke and that he needs to write next week's issue of the series. At which point, we're reminded as to why this series ended in the first place from the first episode. He's run out of ideas. And then we get a pretty long post-credit segment where Nikura is having a philosophical discussion between, at the end of it, 5 different demons about whether or not she should turn in a 500 yen coin she finds on the floor. But the conversation takes too long, partially because of the ridiculousness of the demons and what they're suggesting, that the woman who lost her 500 yen coin just does come back and reclaim it.
And then her angel shows up and suggests reporting it to the police, to which she receives a shoe to the noggin.
And that's City in a bag of nuts, because that was longer than a nutshell.
That episode was funny.
We had a lot more grounding of the context between all the characters, which I suspected was going to happen given, we just need to spend more time with them. It was good. It was funny. I mean, that's what I expected. Some aspects of it were kind of like, meh, okay, we can move on to the storyline. But the pacing is just that it doesn't matter. If you don't like a certain character or the story arc that they're in, just wait a minute, it'll change. Yeah. Which, with Nichijou, I had the same experience. There were some story arcs in Nichijou that I just ignore, that I don't like, that just are not interesting to me. I don't know what else to say. It's City. It is what it is. It delivers
entertainment. Yeah, I mean, this one's hard to
delve into because there's not a lot of delving.
Yeah.
It's a gag comedy.
It's a mile wide, but an inch deep.
There are so many different layers to the comedy.
Okay, maybe it's 2 inches deep. I like it. I enjoy the show. It's just hard to analyze the characters.
Contextualize.
Yes.
I think I like Nagamo the most. Just due to how ridiculous her personality is.
Yes, I think so far the Mont Blanc Trio is my favorite part of the show. Also, did you notice that the manga artist was wearing a t-shirt that said manga on the back?
Did you notice that his comic, the final edition of his comic, was essentially the events of what happened to the Makabe restaurant in episode 1? Yeah, definitely scraping the barrel when he's just building it based upon random experiences he sees outside of his window. So the plot thickens with Hikaru as the unsettling air of the story deepens, both visually and then with the dialogue.
Sakamoto Days returns with a triumphant fight and a lightning round of, hey, do you remember all these characters?
Yeah,
Let's go.
These people are important. Go, 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 go. I think that was a really strong way of doing that.
The only people we really missed were Sakamoto's wife and daughter. They're not super important.
And then I think City did a really good job this week of building the background for the Mont Blanc Trio.
And continuing to be ridiculous.
And then it did what this author's really good at, tying what seems to be disparate things together in unsuspecting ways. Particularly the whole idea of the ridiculous way that they create the horoscopes for the magazine and how that led to the Makabe's son spending an entire day wearing a skirt.
I love this show.
It's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for listening. And glad to have all 3 shows running congruently now. And don't forget about Anime Plus, which comes out on Wednesdays, where we are discussing Rascal Does Not Dream of Santa Claus. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell so you know when the videos come out. Thanks again for listening. We'll check you guys next time.